to what extent are you seeing mobile capture and mobile applications in this area as a demand element, or being demanded by customers as opposed to vendors pushing it in the market? So obviously, you know, we've got an axe to grind here, but to what extent in your conversations with customers have you seen people sort of defining requirements here?
So maybe a little bit of background before I answer that. So what are we, in 84, the top Fortune 100? Mm-hmm. And I get to do about 80 or 90 customer-facing engagements a year, where I'm out with the sales team, helping them, you know, create vision and help our customers develop their own strategies. But the benefit to me, why I go, is because I get to listen, right, and hear what our customers are looking for. And I've been doing this actually for 26 years. And mobile, for me, very much feels like the first major inflection point that we probably experienced in capture, maybe since OCR. So I think there's going to be an evolution of mobile that starts with organizations empowering their employee base, and then a second wave that will actually go to end users directly. And whether that's insurance, banking, whether it's transportation or logistics, I haven't come across a major customer that we've engaged that isn't in the middle of rolling out that strategy or forming that strategy, or already has some early capabilities there. And that's, in large part, one of their top 2 initiatives going forward.
In Forrester, I think we see 3 really big trends. Mobile's one of them. Mobile, cloud, and social. And actually, when you think about mobile, it's mobile and social become very much welded at the hip at that point. So I'm not that mobile specialist inside Forrester, so I won't get those direct inquiries. But I can tell you from the business process point of view, there's also a high degree of interest of delivering work to employees at some point in the process, or a manager for a sign-off, of reducing that latency that you talked about before. And indeed, if you think about your own, just take your own children, for example. Who's got teenagers for children? You know, they're all digital natives. They expect it to be on the mobile device.
I love asking this question. How many people here actually have a Dropbox account?
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's about
okay.
two-thirds.
Two-thirds. That is consistent with virtually every single type of venue that I've been in, is around 2/3, sometimes as high as 3/4. Now, who uses Evernote? Little under half. Around half is actually consistent. So you think about it, there are 50 million users of Dropbox and around 20 million users of Evernote. So proportionally, it's about right. And that's actually the thing that's driving a radical change in the way people are looking at IT, is you have empowered yourself to be able to take devices like this and be able to take and use stuff all over the place. And you're kind of tired of waiting for IT to be able to deliver it. In fact, IT will never be able to deliver something like Dropbox or Evernote. So it becomes an entirely new way of actually being able to deliver services. Now, content is actually sort of a funny thing. So ask those 2 questions in a bank, you will actually get exactly the same answer. And that scares the hell out of the banks. Absolutely. What are you doing taking customer notes on Evernote? You know, I asked the CEO of Evernote, what happens if somebody, you know, if your device is stolen, can you wipe it? Well, yeah, we're talking to some people about maybe being able to do something like that. That's really scary. I think what we're seeing is that there's going to be some use cases where it does make sense to put stuff in the cloud, but we also want to keep it inside. So business-to-business collaboration has to happen outside the firewall. Anytime I use a mobile device, I have to use it outside the firewall. And that's what we're aiming at right now, is enabling entirely new business processes that weren't possible before.
How many SAP installations are there out in the world? What, something like 30,000, something like that? And every one of them is employing an army of Accenture consultants and what have you, using your phrase, sorry, to go along and make all this happen. And there's big dollars attached to those. And yet, if you think about surrounding that, you can then keep a very vanilla SAP system of record. And actually, in Forrester, we start talking about system of record and system of engagement. Yeah. The system of engagement is what you're providing with total agility and the front-end capture and the point of origination. The system of record, you're never going to get away from that single record view of the finance. You know, we've got to have one consolidated view of the finances. But we can actually get there a lot quicker by skinning it rather than trying to do it all in ABAP development.
They almost draw a line around a box around the system of record, and to your point, I don't want to touch that. I'm afraid if I break that, the impact that's going to have on my organization, right? But I need to
nothing of his career.
Absolutely. So I need to create richer customer experiences, more dynamic customer experiences. I need to be able to transact business in a much more fluid and dynamic way. And as they see us evolving our capture platform, yeah, I think some of them realized that we were building out a system of engagement before we did, and realized that we're kind of that front end that allows that highly dynamic, fluid, on-demand, low latency kind of business interaction, regardless of where it happens, in the field, through your portal, back office. And we abstract all of that chaos, if you want to call it, from that system of record.
We can look at this as chaos. I don't think it's chaos as much as the new way of doing business. People are using new tools to essentially implement business processes in systems that were never designed for business processes. In fact, if you use the word business process or even workflow, they won't know what the heck you're talking about. So, part of this is to look at those systems as, yes, the point of initiation, the point of origin of the business process, use new vocabulary and terminology that kind of integrates it together, and the flow into a system of record for compliance reasons and everything else needs to be absolutely seamless, and that end user is in control, but in a way that is much simpler, and they don't really need to know all the nitty-gritty details, but know that, maybe it is case, and think of things as case management or whatever. I'm handling this. The more we can present it inside the system of engagement, the more that you'll get that engagement, not just with the customer, but your employees and everything else.